Welcome to this video, and today I will again continue the work on my game. Okay, so but today the first thing which we will do is creating a version control system for our game, and by that I mean creating a GitHub repository. So we will do that so that we can back up our game on GitHub and do some version controlling, because it can happen that something goes wrong sometime, and then if it does and it's not fixable, then we will lose our progress, or we will have to spend a lot of time in undoing changes. But if we will have a version control system, we will get two benefits. First, there will be a backup of our project, and second, we will have a version control system. That's all, because we are working alone right now, and so we are not working in a team, which means that we are not actually going to use the uh, teamwork aspect of GitHub, right? So we don't need that, but we need a repository anyway. So just open a browser and type github.com, and opening. So I have an account. If you don't have an account, you can make one. It's free, and then click on new. Now I will put some name to my repository. I will put it Soul Hunter Downtown, and it's available. So actually you have to put this name in such a way that it's unique. I think it should be unique. Create repository names are short and memorable. Tiny Fortnite, that's okay. Description is optional, but I will put it. This is the repository for the GDevelop 5 game Soul Hunter Downtown. I will keep it public so that you can access it as well, and skip this step if you are importing an existing repository. Don't do that. Just okay. Just create it. So it has been created, and now what we will do is we will just click on this button, which will uh, help us copy this link. So we have copied it. Now I am at the folder where I keep my games. So it is in my external hard disk. I have casual game devs folder. Inside I have this Soul Hunter Downtown, which is my game folder where I have actually put all the files. And now what I will do is I will right click and I will open git bash here. So if you don't have this option, you may have to download git for Windows 10. So I am working on Windows 10, right? I am working on Windows 10. If you are working on Linux, you can just put the command sudo apt-get install git. And if you are working on Mac OS, for that I think git for Mac OS. I think you can get yeah, from here, download for Mac OS. So there it is. You can go to this page and download git, and for Windows just go to Windows and just uh, download it. I don't want to do that, it's happening anyway, so I will close it, right? So that's how you can get git, right? Yeah, so git for Windows, but I will recommend that you download this one if you are working on Windows. Git for Windows.org, this one is much better. I mean, you know, download it from here. If you I would recommend to do that. So that's how you can get this git, git bash here. I will click on it. Now I will have some small window. If you don't have that option, git bash, then you can also open PowerShell. You have to press shift and right click, and then you can open PowerShell window here. And when you click on it, a shell window will open where you can type commands. So from there you can type the git command, which I am going to type now. But you can only do that after installing git software. So since I already have git installed in Windows 10, I will just open it and I will type clone git clone, and I will right click inside it and I will click on paste. And that's because I have copied this link before. I will copy it again just to make sure that I have it. And now I will just click on paste. And now I have pasted that link over here. Git clone this. So what is this? This is our repository. It will be cloned here. But I think we should put a folder name here so that it gets cloned to some particular folder. Tool hunter down, and at the end we can put git or just repo. It's a folder name. That's all it is. Click on press enter. So now it will ask for password, and no, it didn't ask for password because it's an empty repository. Okay, most of the time it does. So now what you should do is, so double click on your folder and you press Ctrl A, which will select everything, and then you press Ctrl C, which will copy everything, and then you go to your repository folder and you paste it. So it's getting pasted. There it is. We have pasted everything from that folder to this folder, to this repo folder. Okay, that's okay. And now go inside the repository folder and then again right click, open git bash here. So now git bash has been opened here inside this folder, which means that the uh, context the context has changed. I mean, whatever command which you will type here, and if you will reference a file without putting the full path, without putting the full path of the file, if you will reference a file in any command in this window, and if the file is present in this folder, it will fetch it, right? So that's the advantage. We have opened git bash here, which means in this folder. So the context has changed. The context is this folder. We are in this folder. So whatever command we will type, it will be it will first look for the files within the folder, and if they are not there, it will show an error. Or you can just type the full path of the file. We can do that too, but it will be very cumbersome, right? So don't do that. So wherever you so that's what I'm saying. Go to your repo folder and right click on git bash here, and now you have to do this git status. We are doing this to check the status of our what we have changed. Since we have copied everything right now, we have pasted everything right now, it shows that all these things are new. They have been changed in the repository, which is right now in our computer. We still have to upload the changes to our GitHub repository. We have not done that, but we will do it now. After typing git status, you should type git add dot. Add dot means add everything. And what we are doing is we are taking whatever changes we did and we are adding it in order to commit it later. And commit, I mean that by commit I mean you will be uh, what you will be doing is that you will be staging those changes to be pushed into your repository. That's what we will be doing by committing it. So now we'll put commit git commit -m initial commit git commit -m means message. So you have to type some message here so that you know what it is that we are doing. And after commit command, we have committed it, which means that which basically means that we have put all these changes on a stage, and we are now ready to push it to our online repository. If we don't do that, then those changes will not be pushed, right? So we have to put this command also, and which means that if after git commit command, when you call the push command, then the changes which you have committed, only those changes will be updated in your repository. So that's why it is important. I think we don't have to get into the details of Git too much. So these commands are the only thing which you need to know. First, git status, just to check the status whether the things have changed or not, and after that git add dot to check to put all the changes to commit them, to make all the changes ready to commit and then third command git commit -m and some message, and then the fourth command will be this git push origin master. Now it will ask us for password. Username, I will type username. This is my username. You should type your username. Now my password. Okay, so it's doing it. It's going to upload, so it may take some time. So I think I will pause this video and resume it when it has done. So it has done uploading, right? So I have uploaded all this data to my git repository. So now let's go to my git repository over here and see if I will be able to see my code or my whole project. So I'll just reload it, and here you can see that in my git repository now I have all the files of my game.json, game.json.autosave, all these pictures, all the assets. I have these assets, right? So everything has been pushed to the repository. So that's good. We made a new repository. We pushed our files to that repository. So now we have two folders, one in which we were working before, and now we have a repo folder, which is the folder which is connected to our git repository. So from now on, from today, we will start working. We will not work on our old folder anymore. We will start working on our repo folder. So you can delete the old folder, but don't do that. Don't do that just yet. Do it after you have shipped your game. So today I will open the file from the repo folder. There is no difference between them right now, other than that this folder is connected to our GitHub repository, and by connected I mean that it has a hidden file inside it. Sorry, and that file basically tells the Git software in your computer that this folder is actually a repository, and Git repository, right? And that file also has some, I think, some credentials, some endpoints, and by endpoint I mean server. And so that small hidden file, which is a .git file, I believe, That small file tells the Git software in your computer what to do when the user types some commands related to Git. So that's the difference between this folder and this folder. That's the only difference. Presence of .git file. That's it. But uh, when we will start working on this, we will make some more changes. So the difference between these two folders will keep increasing. So that's not very something which we should, you know, understand very deeply or something. But that's what is happening. So don't delete it. You can delete it, but don't delete it. Just keep it just for backup. And now you can close your command window. I will close it. Now open gdevelop 5 and I will open a project. I will not open this one. I have two folders again. I will open the new one, repo folder, and I will just click on game.json. So yeah, there it is, our game. Now let's do something. Uh, Last time we made ghost appear. Let me play it and see uh, what is happening. Right. So oh, I think I should decrease the cooldown because it's not very fun with such a long cooldown. I will decrease the cooldown now. So that's why we make it in form of variables. If I had done it statically, I would have had to go inside the code and search where I have added a cooldown, right, and then lower it. But right, like this, I can just change this variable bullet firing cooldown to 0.5. I'll apply it and save it and run again. Now I can fire faster. So this is more fun. The game is also very challenging. The topmost ghost is too far away. The topmost ghost is too far, but we will take care of that later. And one more thing which I would like to do is that where the position where we are spawning the ghost should be a variable so that we can change it, so that we don't have to go inside the code and change it all the time, because we will be making lots of ghosts, different types of ghosts. So and they will be spawned at the same, almost the same locations, so we can make global variables plus and ghost uh, x. Okay, x position will be the same, but I will still change it. Ghost x position, ghost spawn x position, which is 1400 currently, and then ghost spawn y position, which is an expression. Can I type? I don't think so. I don't think that I can type an expression here. Ghost spawn y position offset, which is I think right now 400. I think. Let's see what it is. It is 500. So offset, by offset I mean this number. Like this will be just this. I will keep this the way it is, and let me just put the global variable here. Value of a global variable, which is ghost spawn x position. Apply. And here I want a global variable again. I will just copy this text, and here after plus paste this. on y position offset, y position offset. So we can change the offset, so that will be good enough. So the topmost ghost is coming because the offset is too much, so we have to lower the offset if you want to, but right now I will not do it. So we have just made it modular, right? We have made it a little more, we have added a little more modularity to it, which will help us in the future. So what I want to do now is that I want to make the ghost damage the player, and for that I need to add a health bar, so the player will have some health, right? We have already added coins, and now we will add health. Let's see. Let me add a global variable called health. Health. What should I call it? Player health. No, call it health. It should be 10, 100, 100, 100. And attack power health. So I think we have to use the same convention when making variables for enemies also. This enemy, I wonder if you can see it. Uh, uh, yeah, you wait a minute. Yeah, that's okay. Let me change the position of my camera. So as you can see, this ghost orb, when you double click on it, you don't double click on it. When you do that, you can change the sprite and change the behavior, but we don't want to do that. Just click on these three dots, and this gives you a menu. I think I've done it before, but maybe you are not able to see it because of the camera. So just click on edit object variables. So here you have health, points and coins. Now we will add something more to the ghost, which is attack power. Again, ghost will also have some attack power, which will depend on the type of ghost. So this ghost attack power will be, I think, 10, because it's a starting ghost, so it's weak. Attack power is 10, right? So and our attack power is, the global variable attack power means the attack power of the player. Our attack power is 1, which is very less, but let's keep it that way. Yeah, we will change it later if there is need, you know. So that's what it is. We have player health, and we also have damage that the ghost will be able to do to the player, which is 10 right now. Maybe should I make it 1? No, 10 is okay, right? So that's what. So when I go here, wait, let me change the camera again. So now let me show you. Let me make the ghost damage the player. And we will use collision for that. Collision. Ninja girl with ghost or white. We ignore objects that are touching each other on the edge, but no, that's okay. So when ninja girl is in collision with ghost or white, what will happen? Damage. How will we show damage? We have to show that the ninja girl was damaged. So we have to do something for that. Either you know, make some animation happen, or make the ninja girl transparent for a while, like you have seen those uh, old video games where the ninja girl becomes, where the player becomes transparent when something hits them, right? Yeah, so let's do it that way, because I think that will be easier to do. First thing which I would like to do is some movement. Add a force. Should I add a force? But wait, I'm looking for some physics also. Physics engine 2.0, forces and impulses. Apply impulse to Ninja Girl. The behavior is not attached to this object. Select another object or add this behavior. Okay, I have to add the physics behavior. No, if I add physics, it will be very slow. It will become very slow. So I will not do that. Let's not do that. Let's just add a force. Uh, add a force. Add a force. Add a force. Yeah, Ninja Girl. Speed on x-axis 0. Speed on y-axis will be 1000. It will be just for one instant. For one instant, I will add a force 1000 per 1000 pixels per second on y-axis, and after that it will have no force. Let's see how that works, right? And there is one more thing. While the ghost, if the ghost has attacked the player, then it should not be able to attack the player again for some time. Same way, the same way like it happened in video games, small old video games, Nintendo games. So how to do that? We need to start a timer, and how should we? But no, we also need a variable. It will be, can be a scene variable, it can be a global variable. So should we make a scene variable? Number of ghosts seen on screen. So no, let's make it a global variable, because it's better if we make it a global variable. This is damage cooldown, which is, I think, more 2 second. 2 second. Give the player 2 seconds to recover. That's all. 2 seconds is too much. 1 second is okay. We will change it. Damage cooldown. What it will do is it will give the player some time to, you know, to recover after getting damaged. So now damage cooldown is 1 second. Okay, and here we will 1 second. Okay, 1 second. How will we check? Wait, I should have done it some other way, not like this. Damage, can damage. No, they can the cooldown, damage cooldown. We need another variable which is can be damaged. Can be damaged, which is one right now. Can the player be damaged and damage cooldown? We need two variables, because one will track can the player be damaged or not, and other will just tell us how long do we have to wait before the player can be damaged again. So let's make that logic. It's very simple. Add a condition in this location. I hope you can see that. You can see that. Yeah. So add condition. Okay. What was I going to add? Variable. Value of a global variable, and that is can be damaged. If it is equal to 1, then we can be damaged. Then we will do the damage. We will decrease the health of the ninja girl. Sorry, variable value of a no. Sorry, value of a global variable health. Use an operator minus. And what will this value be? This will be the attack power of the ghost. Objects variable. Objects variable. On object is ghost orb, and variable is attack power. So that's what it will do. This will keep it modular. So the health will be decreased. Right. Okay, and now what we will do is we will start a timer. Start timer, and this is damage timer. Damage timer. That's all. Damage timer. And now we need another condition. And wait, one more thing. We have to set the variable can be damaged to 0. Can be damaged is equal to 0. Now it can't be damaged. The girl can't be damaged. So now we have to write another condition. Add a new empty event. Add condition. Now the value of timer. I mean the time of the time. Value of a scene timer. Yeah. Time in second. Now I need to put a time here. So we have our time already in a variable which is called damage cooldown. And variables, global variable damage cooldown. And what is the name of the timer? Damage timer. That's it. That is the name of the timer. Okay. Yeah. We have when the timer damage timer is greater than damage cooldown in seconds, then something will happen. What will happen? We will change the value of can be damaged back to 1. Can be damaged is equal to 1. And now the ninja girl can again be damaged. Looks good. Uh, However, we are not able to see the health, but we will do that later. Let's test it and test whether this logic works or not, or whether the ninja girl is receiving an impulse or not, and what is the impulse actually doing. Let's test it. Nothing is actually happening. Nothing seems to be happening, but maybe it is happening. I don't know. So I think I should make a new object. Wait. Which is a UI element where I can see the uh, text, the health, how much health I have, right? So just yeah. So to do that, you should just click on this plus and add a text. Display the text, right? So you can type health text, health text, size 20. We will increase it bold because bold. So font. If you don't have any font, just don't put any font. I think they will just default to the system font or something. So just keep it this way. Health text 20. We can put it bold or not. It's your choice. So black color will not be visible. So I will choose white color. Okay, bold white color. And behavior. What behavior do we have? Or is the same behavior which is there for everyone. That's what click on apply. Now we have a health text. Now drag it over here. It is too small, but we will just keep it here. So keep it here and increase the size. Double click on it and go to this, and I think I will type 100. Let's see how big it will become. That's better. That's more like it. Now I have to bind the value of this text to my health points. So let's do that. I think there should be a function which can do that here. No, there isn't. So uh, there isn't anything like that. What is there? No, there isn't. I think I have to do it from within code. So we all the time we will be showing the health on that little text. So without any condition, I will just add an action, which is text object. Modify the text. Health text operator equal to a global variable. Variables text of a global variable, and that is health. Like so, it is typecasting the health to string. Health is a number, which is something 100 or something, and it is typecasting it to string. So it is okay. So now we should be able to see the health, which is 100 right now. Yeah, we can see it. But will it decrease? It will. So our damage system is working, but we are not getting any reaction from the character. We have added a reaction, which is to add a force, but it's not really working. So what should we do? Can I turn it up to 10,000 and see what will happen? Let's do it. Oh, okay, too far. Oh, yeah. Okay, wait. I have to add a force of minus, not 10,000, or maybe let's see, minus 10,000, and let me just try it again. Now we got a reaction. We are getting a reaction, and now we also want to play a different animation when we are getting this reaction. So let's do that. We'll play a different. It is the jump animation itself, falling animation. What was the name of that? Idle jump. Idle jump. We will add the animation at jump when it gets attacked. However, yeah, idle jump. Correct. Let's add an action. Right. Animations. Change the animation by name Ninja Girl, or play the animation Ninja Girl. But which animation? Change the animation name Idle jump. Idle jump. Okay. Save. Now let's try how it looks like. Hmm. I think I should increase the impulse to 15,000. 15,000. So it's looking good. Uh, However, we are not getting a lot of impulse in the y direction. It's just jerking. The ninja girl is just jerking and coming back to her original position. But and why it's doing that? I think I know why. And yeah, I think I know why. Because I am adding a force. If I can I bring it down here and let's see if that helps. Let's see. I don't know if that will help. Otherwise, let's see that. So, uh, can I really make it even higher? Like I don't want her to jump too high. But I want to see why it's happening. So yeah, if you one thing is that there is gravity, which is acting on the air. How much gravity it has. Gravity 1000, and this 1000 gravity is acting every frame, and hence it will, even if we apply a force of 10,000 or 1 lakh, it will bring it down very quickly. So that's why it's not getting that much of a jerk. However, if I do this, so our logic for cooldown is working. I mean damage cooldown. The girl is not getting damaged many times, right? It is getting damaged after 1 second again. So, but it is not jumping as high as we would like her to. It is just jerking, which is also looking good. And I will just decrease her opacity so that it looks like she has been damaged. Let me do that. Visibility. Change sprite opacity. Ninja girl. Choose an operator. Value. I I don't know if they use this or that. Let's see. Zero point 0.5. And when it will, then when the cooldown is over, the opacity will change back. In some programs, they use opacity as 100 maximum and 0 as minimum. And I don't know what they use in this, so let's find out. What something happened which shouldn't have happened. Again, oh, opacity they use 100 and 0 and 0, so they should use 50. It is like, wait, without being damaged, why is it changing the opacity? And what is the maximum opacity? I still can't figure out. Oops, I closed the window. Wait. window view. I think it was the object window. Yeah, that it is. Okay, I think they use an opacity of 200, but nobody actually does that. Uh, it should be something that isn't. We'll just, oh, two is written right over here. 0 to 255. I didn't read that. I bet you must have read it. Okay. Uh, okay. What is the half of 250? 250 half is uh 175. No. Okay, my math. 125. 125. And half of 5 is 2.5. 127.5 or 8. 130. Let's keep it 130. So now let's test it finally. So that's pretty cool. So it is working. So I will just stop here. And today we made a Git repository. So yeah, one more thing. Let us push the changes which we did to Git. Go to the folder. Go to your repo folder, which is this one. This is the which we did our changes today. Yeah, you can check it from here. That Solenter downtown repo. So this is the folder where we did our changes today. Now again, right click, git bash here. Click on git bash here, and then click on type git status. So we changed two files, game.json, game.json.autosave, which is changed by git develop itself. So we did not add any new sprites. We just changed the code. So in game.json, that's what happens. We change the code. So that's what has been modified. Now type git add dot, right. That's okay. Now type git commit -m add. What did we add? We add damage system. Add damage system. That's what we did today. Now do this git push origin master. It will again ask for my username, and in your case you put your username. Now it's doing. It's done because we did not have any sprites to upload. There was just code, so it was able to do it very quickly. So now we have uploaded our changes to GitHub. Now close this. Now let's open GitHub. And now right now I have not reloaded the page. We can see the initial commit here. And now if I reload it, and it is taking some time. Yeah, we have reloaded it. Yeah, that it is. So yeah, right now we changed two files, game.json and game.json.autosave, which was changed by the game engine itself. So and we added the comment add damage system. So this comment has been added here, right? And we did so. We have successfully made a repository and connected it to our folder and made some changes in it as well. So since we are working alone, we don't need to know how to work with teams. We are not working with teams right now, but in future I will tell you, maybe I will make a small tutorial where I will tell you how to work with teams with games. When you are making a game, how to work with different teams and how to maintain your code on GitHub. But right now we are just doing it in single-handedly alone. So we will just be using this much in many commands, 4 commands, and only this much uh, concept of GitHub. So yeah, that's okay, that's good. We have our repository and it's a backup also, right? So it's good. So yeah, so that's what we did today, and I will continue the development more, and I will also try to figure out why so much impulse is not being added to the character, and the character is just jerking, but not flying up. It should fly up a little higher, right? But it's not. It's just jerking. We want only the jerking thing. That's why I added this force in the first place. But I want to know at what number will the character be jerked jerked up too much. And that's all. And there is one more confusion, and that is uh, when I did not have the animation, the character was able to jump too high, right? So should I remove it? No, don't. We have committed the changes. We will do rest of the things tomorrow. So if you are enjoying this, join me again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.